I invite Dr. Anshu Ogra.
The work I'm presenting today is based on my ongoing PhD work, and the study is largely located in the field of adaptation literature on climate change. The larger argument of the work suggests that climate change adaptation needs to be rethought as an issue of knowledge divide. Fieldwork for this study was carried out over a period of 7 months, spread across 2011 to 2015. It was carried out in the coffee plantation belt of Western Ghats, which is essentially 3 coffee growing states, Karnataka, Kerala and Tamil Nadu. I visited 2 states, Karnataka and Tamil Nadu, 4 districts, 8 taluks and 41 villages. Detailed interviews were carried out with 82 coffee growers and 62 others responded to a written questionnaire. Now the focus of the study was to capture growers' situated experience of unprecedented variation in weather, especially rainfall. This picture was taken during first round of fieldwork at a coffee estate near Bhadra Forest, Chikmagalur in December 2011. The picture shows a single branch of coffee plant bearing ripe fruits, unripe fruits, fresh and withered blossoms at the same time. Now, coffee growers showing me around pointed this out as an impact of untimely rainfalls. In 2015, during third round of fieldwork, I shared this picture as part of my presentation with a different set of coffee growers in Chikmagalur. One of the growers in the audience provided an alternative explanation for this observation. He suggested that it can also be considered as an indication of improper nutrient management in soil. On further investigation, it turned out that the two explanations of this observation were not mutually exclusive, rather they were inherently interlinked. Coffee plantations in South India are located in heavy rainfall areas. While heavy rainfall leads to leaching out of nutrients, delayed rainfall stresses the soil moisture level. As incidences of unprecedented fluctuation in rainfall increase, coffee growers are improvising their cultivation practices with short-term adjustments in order to ensure returns on investment. This paper discusses the implication of these improvisations on the knowledge-practice interface between coffee growers and Central Coffee Research Institute. Central Coffee Research Institute is the research wing of Coffee Board. Its headquarters is located in Balehunur, Chikmagalur, Karnataka. It has 3 regional research stations and 9 coffee demonstration farms in South India. On the field, I first noticed soil not in the plantation but outside a laboratory. These are soil samples which were sent by coffee growers from around the region to get their soil tested for its pH level, organic carbon, nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium content. Alongside the test results, scientists also provided dosage recommendation of nutrients to be added to improve soil quality. Now this table is from a manual for coffee growers published by Central Coffee Research Institute, which I'll be from here on calling as CCRI. Interesting thing to note in this table is that the dosage of nutrient, which is essentially an investment in a fertilizer that grower makes, is directly related to the crop a grower expects to harvest. Maintaining soil health or optimal nutrient rate is thus a delicate balance between the actual deficiency suffered by soil and the amount of investment a grower decides to make in replenishing them. While identifying deficiency is the role of science or knowledge, the decision or extent of investment in fertilizer is part of practice or part of decision a grower makes. Rainfall plays a very important role in informing both knowledge and practice on the ground. Rainfall figures, traditionally rainfall pattern is the defining character of local agroclimatic conditions against which CCRI studies the soil crop cycle in order to inform growers about A, when is which nutrient required by the plant, and B, when is the best time to apply the fertilizer so that the soil is able to absorb maximum amount of nutrients and successfully pass it on to the plant. Rainfall thus figures prominently in the instructions laid out for collecting soil samples, for assessing nutrient deficiency levels, and it also figures prominently in prescribed schedule for fertilizer application. Now this table shows how rainfall pattern dictates soil crop cycle and calendar of operations for coffee estate. The calendar of operation is broadly divided into 2 categories: operation for estates located in southwest monsoon belt and operation for estates located in the northeast monsoon belt. Here we will look at operations for the southwest monsoon belt. Now, November, December, and January is the period of dry spell when rains are not expected. It's the first row. When rains are not expected, this is the time when crop is harvested. During this period, plant growth slows down. This is the time when CCRI recommends correcting soil pH. The acidity of the soil decides plant's ability to absorb nutrients from the soil. Second is February, March, and April. This is the time for blossom showers. These shower releases the stress that the coffee plant is under after the dry spell, and initiation of blossoming kickstarts coffee crop cycle and puts a heavy demand of nutrient demand on the soil. Third is May. May is the time for backing shower. This is the time which is when a planter prepares the plantation for monsoon by digging trenches and manuring, renovating drains, and essentially preparing the plantation for heavy rainfall to come. June, July, and August are monsoon months. This is the time when they try to take care of the bush and ensure that there is no weeding. Not much practices are done during monsoon. Important part is the mid-monsoon. This is the monsoon break, because in monsoon there's plant fruit is developing, the seed is gaining weight. There is heavy nutrition requirement from the soil to provide it to the plant, and at the same time soil is losing nutrients because of continuous leaching due to continuous rains. So the monsoon break plays a very important role. This is the time they do mid-monsoon manuring, and it's the time when soil absorbs the rainfall and gets ready for the second phase of the rainfall. So this is the general thing that has been happening traditionally on the plantation. And then the last September, October is the northeast monsoon region, when the plant undergoes vegetative growth and prepares for next year's crop. So this has been happening on the plantations, traditionally happening on the plantations. CCRI studies this rainfall soil combination, and based on the rainfall soil pattern, they prescribed a package of practices to growers in different regions. However, since I started visiting field, there has been incredible amount of variation in variation in rainfall that growers have been witnessing. During dry spell, there is variation. There's sporadic showers being observed on the ground, which results in untimely blossom, which results in untimely blossom, and because blossoms are lost before next crop, there's a loss of crop. So what growers are trying to do is they're thinking on the lines of harvesting twice a year. A direct implication of that will be added nutrient pressure on the soil. There is variation in the blossom shower because time is becoming unpredictable. You cannot predict when the showers are going to come, resulting in floral abnormality. And to address that, growers are heavily investing in irrigation and, more importantly, shifting from Arabica to Robusta. Now, these are two varieties of coffee that are grown. Arabica requires shade, Robusta can do without shade. Shade regulates microclimate, so doing without shade has implication for local microclimatic conditions. Same is the case with the backing showers, which are experienced in the month of May. In June, July, and early August, which is monsoons are getting increasingly concentrated in 2-month period. So instead of having a rainfall pattern distributed over 3 to 4 month period, you have them concentrated in 2 months, and you don't have monsoon break either. This results in fruit drop, again crop loss. Greater there's fruit drop, which eventually leads to crop loss. So to deal with crop loss, growers are going for extra application of fertilizer. There is greater fluctuation in application of fertilizer just to draw same amount of crop. There is a monsoon break has almost vanished, if I might say so. So there's no mid-monsoon manuring happening. Then September to October is the northeast monsoon region, which is the Palani Hill region, and the time that I visited that region was undergoing drought for the third year in a row. So growers in this region are trying to diversify in other crops, and the immediate implication of that is the crop which pays you most. Local ecosystem is modified according to that crop, whatever is the need and requirement of that crop. So what is happening? The new knowledge practice interface looks like this. There is a variation in rainfall which is affecting the soil crop cycle. The soil crop cycle is making growers take reactive measures. Reactive measures have further implication for local ecosystem, which in turn affect the rainfall. Now, in this downward spiral that is happening, interaction with science is becoming questionable, because where does science, the conventional idea of science, which scientists at CCRI have been carrying out for many years, where do they figure in this interaction, in this immediate give and take happening on the field? Quick concluding remarks. This gap that is visible in this new knowledge practice interface is reflected in interactions with growers. While growers find existing scientific knowledge outdated or inadequate to face the new challenges, scientists find growers' quick fixes negatively affecting the local ecosystem. This is also reflected in growers' reluctance towards the Rangarajan report, which has called for serious actions to conserve forest in Western Ghat. More importantly, what my study suggests is the gap between practice and knowledge is likely to widen further as unprecedented variation in weather increases. To put it differently, growers' disenchantment with science and scientists' limitation to direct practice on the ground is the first impact of changing climatic pattern on the ground. And the gap has opportunistically provided space for growers, for groups like Black Gold League. It is a growers association, basically a black pepper growers association, which they have come together and they have just hired some consultant, basically answering whatever they want to know. And that's what they're using as a new source of information. And with that, I'll just end with some beautiful pictures from the field. This is the blossoming stage of the plant, one of the most beautiful stage of the you would like to be at a coffee plantation for. So yeah, thank you. That's all.
Can you hear me? Yeah, my question is to Mike is recording now.
Hello. Anshu, my question is to you on the coffee. Wonderful, lot of research, and I'm delighted to hear it's happening. It's too bad that you didn't come to non-traditional areas in Andhra Pradesh. Nevertheless, mine is a question and a comment. Number one, in your research, did you bring in the question of looking at analyzing quality regarding coffee and not just the quantity? And secondly, just a comment that one of our well-known coffeeologists based in Bangalore, Sunalini Menon, you probably know her, she used to make the comment that in a good year, when coffee farmers got a very good crop and they had a lot of money, they would buy more fertilizers to get a better crop the next year, and she was able to predict the decline in the quality of the coffee taste on the basis of a good year will predict a bad year in terms of quality the next year. So basically just a question is, we're looking at fertilizers as a way towards increasing the quantities of our coffee. None of us are looking at how to increase the quality of our coffee, and it's the great tragedy is that we're still depending on coffee as a commodity and not as a product. And I think it's one of the great tragedies. So I'm hoping that your research will come and bring to light a lot of interesting things. Thank you for that.
One more last question, please. Yeah. Sorry, because that is...
Question to Anshu again. It's good that you brought forward the scenario of coffee plantation in the regime of the climate change. But that dealt only with the coffee plantations using chemical fertilizer. Have you also studied what is the response of organically grown coffee plantations to this scenario? That is also important to compare it with the two.
I think I'll answer both the questions together because I find they're connected. To start with, yes, coffee is commodity and prices drive almost every decision on the ground. So much so that application of fertilizer is a function of price and not, this is something I discussed in another paper, is a function of price and not the deficiency that the soil is suffering from. when you're talking about the bumper and the lean crop years, 1 year the crop, that's generally understood as a tendency of coffee plant, because the year the plant is producing good crop, because the seed growth and the crop food for next year happens at the same time. So the year the plant is producing good fruit, it will not be able to provide much energy to the cropping good for the next year. So you have bumper year, and immediately following that is the lean year. So that's generally what growers say, that there's a tendency 1 year you have a good crop,
It's
and
a
another,
chemical regime.
and another you will have a lean year. Now what is happening on the ground is, as you rightly said, linear, this was an understanding which was traditionally there, that bumper year, linear, that's how you work. However, now with growers taking the liberty of manipulating situation at the ground, they're using extra fertilizer to make sure the linear is also not that lean. And they're able to, if the prices are good, they'll make sure that they don't lose on that opportunity and make the linear also good. So that is where you talk about bumper and lean crop years, and coffee is approached from the commodity perspective. As far as organic coffees are concerned, there is a drive to go towards biodynamic plantation and to have organic coffee, but they're very far and few in between. And surprisingly, growers associations, the associations which come out with their own manual and magazine, they will promote, they will put such growers on the cover, in a way suggesting that this is also a way to go. However, the majority is not doing that. In candid conversations off the record, growers will say, yeah, that's all very good, but you realize that's not how you make profit. So in candid conversation, they will say that.
How is this coffee plantation?
Can I sort of pick it up? Sorry.
How does it reflect in the climate change?
As I said, there's a far and few between. I did not personally speak with organic planters, but I was aware that there are coffee plantations who are doing organic coffee, and there are some who have even divided the plantation into halves. And part they are doing organic, and part they are going to make sure that they can support the organic. So that's something happening, but as of now I didn't find any significant